All right, Boys State, welcome to tonight's evening assembly. Please stand for the invocation. Bless the mountains, oh so grand. Bless those who gather in this land. Bless this camp we hold so dear. Bless us all at Mountaineer. Amen. Amen. Remain standing. The Pledge of Allegiance. Gotcha. Your camp Mountaineer Director, Robbie Robinson.
We have some very distinguished guests here this evening. You're going to meet them in a few minutes. But what we have traditionally done is give them a small token and a gift when they come down to see us. So your class is going to do a ceremony for them, and then we'll move on with the rest of the assembly. Caleb, your commander for your detail tonight. Caleb.
Attention to orders. We are gathered here for an important, patriotic, and solemn purpose. Here to witness the presentation of the flag of our country, Old Glory, the Stars and Stripes, our flag, to the President of WVU by the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State, class of 2026. Sergeant at Arms, post the flag to be presented in front of this gathering. Let us stand for the invocation. Chaplain, please come to the front.
If you'll please bow your heads in prayer. Most gracious Father of us all, from whom comes all help and blessings, look upon us gathered here, and with thy favor, direct us in all our action. Grant to us vigilant hearts, give us minds to know thee. We ask that you place your hand on all here and across our nation, and let this flag fly free in your name. Amen. Amen.
You may sit. We will now have a reading of Your Flag and My Flag by Wilbur D. Nesbitt. The reading will be done by Levi Ryan.
Your flag and my flag, and how it flies today. In your land, in my land, in half a world away. Rose red and blood red, the stripes forever gleam. Snow white and soul white, the good forefathers' dream. Sky blue and true blue, with stars to gleam aright. The glorified guidon of the day, a shelter through the night.
We are here tonight to present a flag to West Virginia University. WVU shows true Americanism and is a great supporter of the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State. They are always ready to help and work with our program. The American Legion Mountaineer Boys State class of 2026 will present the new flag. The flag will be presented by Governor Northey. Sergeant at Arms, retrieve the flag.
It is a great privilege and pleasure to have the honor of presenting this beautiful symbol of our country, the flag of the United States of America, the Stars and Stripes, to West Virginia University on behalf of the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State class of 2026. May it always fly over our land, representing the government instituted by our founding fathers that will always champion freedom and justice. It is with honor and pride that this beautiful flag of the great state of West Virginia is also presented to West Virginia University on behalf of the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State class of 2026. May it ever remind you of her rolling hill, flowing rivers, majestic mountains, and that mountaineers are always free.
In honor of what we have witnessed here today, we will now honor America by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Afterwards, please remain standing for the playing and singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That concludes our flag presentation ceremony. We all know that there will be a fresh, bright, brand new flag of our nation flying tomorrow, and long may it wave. We will now have our benediction. Chaplain, please come to the front.
Please bow your heads with me. Almighty God, leader over all, bless and consecrate this gathering. We thank you for our country, its flag, and the liberty for which it stands, one nation under you. May you grant us peace and freedom as we live for God and country. Amen.
You may be seated.
So I'm going to call up to make the formal introduction of our guest speaker. I'm going to call up our legal advisor, who is a former WVU Mountaineer mascot himself, Brandon Flower.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. All right. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to introduce to you President Benson. President Benson, I don't know if you recall, we met last fall at the Mush in Morgantown. And it's with great pleasure that I get to introduce President Benson to you tonight. As you could probably tell, West Virginia University is near and dear to my heart. Spent 8 wonderful years there, and yes, I did come out of there with a doctorate. Level degree. 2 degrees, met my wife there. My 3 children are a result of my time at WVU, 2 of which are current WVU students, and 1 will be a student at Potomac State College this coming fall. So we have a deep connection. And I say that because while Dr. Benson has been in West Virginia almost a year, just about a month shy of being in office a year, I believe that he has truly learned what it means to be a Mountaineer. I know he was working on, and I believe went to all 55 counties at this point. 55 counties. How many of you gentlemen here can raise your hand and say you've been to all 55 counties in West Virginia? Well, not very many. Well, President Benson made that a priority when he came here to West Virginia, to learn the people, our culture, and what we're about. That, to me, is significant. Not many people would take the time to do that. And I think in the year he's been here, he has really come to understand us and become one of us, which is important. Prior to coming to West Virginia, President Benson was the president at Coastal Carolina University in South Carolina, and prior to that, for several decades, has been in higher academic administration. What I think is very impressive is his academic background. I'll maybe spare you a lot of the details, but he's a graduate of Brigham Young University, where he received his bachelor's and received his PhD, his doctorate in history at the University of Oxford in England. That's very, very impressive. He also has master's degrees from Notre Dame University, Notre Dame Mendoza College of Business at the University of Notre Dame, and a Master of Liberal Arts at the Johns Hopkins University. All just great, wonderful institutions. This is the kind of learned individual we have representing us and leading us here at West Virginia. And he had very large shoes to fill from President Gee, who spent many years here. But I would say President Benson has done a wonderful job. One very, very important thing that you need to know about President Benson is, as the president of West Virginia University, he oversees Jackson's Mill as the home of the 4-H program here in West Virginia, which is ran through the WVU Extension Service. He runs that. He is on the Council of Presidents of the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges, and is a trustee for the National 4-H Council. So him coming here tonight is not just part of coming here to Boise State to talk to you all. This is very personal for West Virginia University and for Dr. Benson. Without further ado, I could go on probably for a while. As you can see, this single-spaced, nice long resume that he has. But it's my privilege to call up here to speak to you tonight the leader of West Virginia University, the West Virginia University system, also the home of the super regional winning WVU Mountaineer baseball team. Let's hear it. And wouldn't be surprised if you catch Dr. Benson in Omaha on Friday, maybe watching a game. So without further ado, I want to bring up to you the leader of this fine institution, West Virginia University and Jackson's Mill, Dr. Michael T. Benson, President of West Virginia University.
All right, here we go. Let's go. One more time. Let's go. All right, I am so happy to be here. Thank you very much, Brandon, for that introduction. I've gotten to know our Mountaineer mascot very well, which, by the way, was voted the best live mascot in all of college athletics. I'm sure I never saw Brandon. And yes, I am a huge baseball fan, and I'm so excited to go to Omaha with our team. This time last year, I was in Omaha with my previous school, Coastal Carolina University. We made it all the way to the championship game, the championship series. We lost to LSU. We lost to a pitcher 1-0, and he ended up going third in the draft. So we faced some stout pitching. How many of you are baseball fans? All right. I love baseball. I always have. You know, the fact that it's a game within a game, you know, we haven't been known really as a baseball school until Coach Mazey and people like Jim Clements, the president, and the athletic director, built Kendrick Ballpark. The park is named for the owner of the Arizona Diamondbacks, who's from Princeton, West Virginia, Ken Kendrick. And what Coach Mazey built and the foundation that was in place has certainly enabled Coach Sabins to do what he's done. We're one of two schools that has gone to super regionals 2 years in a row. The other one's North Carolina. So if you look at our bracket, it's a pretty good draw for us. We played Troy on Friday. The winner of that gets the winner of Ole Miss and North Carolina. So please tune in. It's going to be great fun watching our Mountaineers. And I've loved the coverage that we've gotten in the media. You look at the people that have paid attention to our singing our song. What is our song? Take Me Home, Country Roads. I know it by heart. I had a chance to sing it 9 times at 9 different ceremonies of graduation, and I never get tired of it because it, in so many ways, unifies us in a really unique sort of way. I really appreciate the gift of the flag. Thank you very much for that. I had a chance to live overseas for about 7 years. I was in England for 3 years. I lived in Italy for 2 years. I lived in Israel for about 1.5 years. So at the time, my family was out in Utah, and I would come back and forth, and I would fly back into the United States in Newark or Boston, sometimes at JFK in New York. And, you know, regardless of how long I was gone or where I had been, not an occasion went by that I didn't go through customs, and what's the first thing I would see? The United States flag. And I knew I was home. So this flag means a great deal, and it'll be a proud place. It'll be proudly displayed in my office. So again, thank you to all of you for that gift. I also want to thank the American Legion. Today is June the 8th, which means 2 days ago, we commemorated the 82nd anniversary of what? D-Day. Invasion of Normandy. Now, in military terms, they would call D-Day +1, which would have been what date? June the 7th. So when we were going through our strategic planning process at the university, I decided to use someone whom I've admired a long time because my grandfather worked for him, and I'll tell that story in a second. But Dwight David Eisenhower was the Supreme Allied Commander, or they called him Supreme Commander, Allied Expeditionary Force. And as we were going through our strategic plan, I decided to use his phrase that he came up with. He said, "Plans are useless, but planning is everything." You know, somebody else once said, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." You may know who said that, but I'll leave it at that. As we were going through this process, I started using more kind of examples of leadership from President Eisenhower. And one of my colleagues stopped me one time and she said, "Do you know, President Benson, my grandfather was part of the 82nd Airborne. And he flew a glide plane into France on D-Day +1. And her name's Stephanie Taylor. She sent me a text yesterday and said, just a reminder, today is D-Day +1, because that in so many ways came to life, the story came to life and made our planning process even more important. He landed in France, helped with the liberation of France, was part of the Battle of the Bulge, survived that with General Patton, came back, used the GI Bill to go to school, was a pastor, and of course was the grandfather of our colleague Stephanie. So I've always loved telling that story about Bill Taylor, Reverend Bill Taylor, because he was part of that greatest generation. So I want to thank the American Legion. I want to thank all the veterans that are here tonight. You look at all the service flags. We owe a great debt of gratitude to the men and women who have chosen to wear the uniform and to serve our country. I look at the date of Boise State when it was founded, 1936. What was happening in Europe in 1936? By the way, I'm going to ask questions tonight, and if you would, just raise your hand if you want to give me an answer, and I'll call on you. So what was happening in Europe in 1936? Yes, sir. Yeah, the beginning of the stages. But who was coming to power in Europe? Adolf Hitler. And he was a very bad guy. He was an evil man with very bad intentions. And next thing you know, England decided to capitulate. He invades Poland. He invades Czechoslovakia. Of course, the Germans had invaded Belgium to start kind of precipitate World War I. But you all were founded in 1936, and I thought of the juxtaposition of the founding of an entity, an organization like Boise State, to counter the evil that was if you will, immersing or covering that part of the globe at that time. And what it brought to mind is this stanza from a favorite poem. This is from William Butler Yeats. He was an Irish poet. I know my colleague Travis likes William Butler Yeats a great deal. I do too. Won the Nobel Prize for Literature. He wrote a poem called The Second Coming. And one of the stanzas in this poem reads thus: "Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity." I've always loved that part of the poem because it's many ways it describes 1936. It also describes 2026. You turn on the news, you read the media, you read the newspaper, and bad things are happening, perpetuated by bad people. And the only thing that can counter that can act as a ballast, if you will, is good people with good intentions. So I commend all those that had the prescience and the foresight to found Boise State in 1936 at a time when World War II was about to engulf the world. You know, estimates vary, but anywhere between 60 to 80 million people died in World War II. 60 to 80 million people. The Jewish population at the time before World War II, 18 million Jews in the world. Imagine a third of your population getting wiped out, exterminated, in the space of 5, 6, 7 years. So I commend you for being here. I commend you for having the intention to do good, and I certainly hope you'll continue on this path. It says here, a week that shapes a lifetime. Don't let this week go by without it impacting you for good from this point forward. How many of you took the Golden Horseshoe exam? Okay. How many of you were Knights of the Golden Horseshoe? How about a big round of applause for all the Knights of the Golden Horseshoe? I certainly appreciated the introduction. It was very kind. One thing that I've learned since I arrived here in July of last year is that I love West Virginia history. We have, I'm going to count myself among you because I'm a West Virginian now. We have a very unique history. So I'm going to ask you a few questions to see how we do, okay? 1862, a very important battle happened in kind of the southern part of Maryland. At the time, it was the bloodiest day in the history of our country. Yes, sir. The Battle of Antietam. Thank you. Now, I appreciate the applause for the right answers, but if we keep doing this, we'll be here for a long time. So, Battle of Antietam, Abraham Lincoln tells his cabinet, I need a victory to do something that was very important. And it was what Ulysses S. Grant said the war was all about. What was the reason we had the Civil War? Yes, sir, in the back. The war was about slavery. You're exactly right. Lincoln tells his cabinet, I need a victory before I can issue the Emancipation Proclamation. So the Battle of Antietam happens on September 17th, 1862. He signs or issues the preliminary proclamation on the 22nd of September, 5 days later. Fast forward now to the January 1st, 1863. How many of you have been to the state capitol and seen the statue out front of Lincoln at midnight? Now, why is Lincoln in a bathrobe in a statue in front of our state capitol? Anybody know? Yes, sir.
Vince Upple, Mason County, or Webster Cottage. He was deciding whether to make West Virginia a state.
Exactly right. So the bill to create a state called West Virginia had been passed by both chambers, the House and the Senate, but had gone to President Lincoln for signature. He had not yet made up his mind whether he was going to do it. There was a gentleman from Mon County, actually from Morgantown, who was so anxious about whether or not he was going to do it. His name was James Blair, that he actually went to see President Lincoln on New Year's Eve. Lincoln would not give him an answer. He couldn't wait till the next day. He actually climbed through a window, an open window at the White House on January the 1st to find out. Lincoln confronted him and said, yes, I did sign it. That very same day, you know what else he signed? What other very important proclamation did Lincoln sign that very same day? Yes, sir.
We're in Tapia from Marion County, the Emancipation Proclamation.
The Emancipation Proclamation. Think about that. Our state was created by a stroke of a pen by Abraham Lincoln, and that very same day he signs the proclamation that freed millions of African Americans that heretofore had not had their freedom. That is the environment in which we were created. And one more kind of historical context. When is our state holiday or state recognition of when we were created? Yes, sir.
Braxton Nichols, Braxton College, June 20th, 1863.
That's right, June 20th, 1863. It's coming up. Now, 2 weeks later, two very significant battles happened that really turned the tide of the Civil War. One in the Western Theater, and it happened on the banks of the Mississippi River. And who can tell me what battle that was? Anybody? Yes, in the back, in the band. Yes, sir. The Battle of Vicksburg. Excellent. Very good. The Battle of Vicksburg is still studied today at West Point, the Naval Academy, because it was the first time the Navy and the Army had worked in concert, and arguably the finest bit of generaling that Ulysses S. Grant did the entire war. We win the Battle of Vicksburg, the famous statement from Abraham Lincoln when he sent the telegraph that Vicksburg is now in Union control. Father of waters flows unvexed to the sea, is what he said. He was talking, of course, about the Mississippi River. In the Eastern Theater, up the road from where we are now in the state of Pennsylvania, another battle happened. Yes, sir, what was it?
Marion Cottage.
the Battle of Gettysburg. So on the weekend of the 4th of July, you had two historic battles that came 2 weeks after we were created as a state and achieved our statehood. So in this kind of, if you will, crucible of conflict, our state came into being, and I'm so proud to know a lot about its history and appreciate how unique it is. One other state was created during the Civil War. Who can tell me what it was? One other state. Yes, sir.
Ian Wright, Upshur County.
Yeah.
Was it Tennessee?
No, sir. Yes. It was Nevada. Very good. If you look at Nevada's state flag, it's blue, and up in the upper left-hand corner it says Battle Born. So there's a reason the 35-star flag was only in existence, or only kind of usable, if you will, for about 16 months. We used it, and then of course when Nevada was added, they added a 36 star to the flag. I want to spend the remaining minutes I have with you to talk about why it's so important for you to focus on service and helping others, and why I would argue that life is much more valuable when you live it for others as opposed to just for yourself. I have two nephews that are Air Force Academy grads, both pilots. They've served dutifully and well their country. My older brother was a political cartoonist, so he was the one that had the job of making fun of our elected officials, and he was pretty good at it. So good that he won a Pulitzer Prize. He died last summer. I miss my brother. But in my office, by the way, unbeknownst to me, when John Denver died, he did a cartoon that shows John Denver walking down this tree-lined path, and it says, "Take me home, country roads." And on the back of his John Denver, he's got his guitar. And when my brother died last summer, I went to the funeral, and his widow, I had just been named president here. I hadn't even started my job yet. His widow gave that to me. She said, "Your brother would want you to have this." And I have that in my office, and it means a great deal to me because every day there's a piece of my brother that reminds me what a special place we live in and how much I've come to love it. My grandfather, and this is the story about Eisenhower, grew up on a little dairy farm in southeastern Idaho, a town of 40 people. He became an extension agent, so all those extension agents out there, the University of Idaho, that was his first job out of Iowa State. He then became a lobbyist for the National Farm Bureau, and he got the attention of President-elect Dwight D. Eisenhower, who called him and asked him to be a Secretary of Agriculture. And my grandfather said, "Mr. President-elect, with all due respect, I'm honored that you would ask me, but there are several reasons I can't do this. One of which, I'm not from a farm state. You need someone from Iowa or Nebraska or maybe Kansas, one of the Dakotas." He gave some other reasons, and then this was the clincher. He said, "President-elect, I apologize, but I did not vote for you in the primary." That's something you want to tell the guy that just called you and offered you a cabinet position. He said, "I voted for my cousin, Robert Taft, who in the Republican primary ran in 1952 and lost to Eisenhower." And this is the end of the story. Eisenhower said, "Mr. Benson, you cannot refuse to serve your country." And he said, "You're right, sir. I will go and talk to my wife about it, my family." And he agreed to do it, and he was 8 years in Eisenhower's cabinet. And I have a picture of a cabinet meeting in the White House, and there's Eisenhower next to Richard Nixon across the table, the vice president, John Foster Dulles, head of the CIA, my grandfather, Henry Cabot Lodge Jr., who was the Secretary of State. And that picture means a great deal to me because it symbolizes my grandfather's commitment to this country and how grateful I am that he did choose to serve. I mentioned that when Boy State was founded, the American Legion Mountaineer Boy State holds the record as the second oldest chapter in the United States. And I was told on the way in here, we're the only one that has been at the same place our entire time. And that's right here at Jackson's Mill. And we're honored to host you at one of our beautiful properties. I want to thank everybody that works here. Dave, raise your hand. Everybody knows Dave. Who else works here full-time at the mill?
They're all still working.
They're all still working. Okay, there we go. It's a beautiful place, a wonderful facility, and we're so happy to have you here. Franklin Roosevelt was the president at the time, of course. He was elected in 1932. our only president to be elected 4 different times. And in his second inaugural address, Roosevelt said this: "The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little." I read those words and I think about his election in 1932, right in the midst of the Depression, and his commitment to seeing that the neediest among us were looked after and helped. You are all citizens of Boise State, taking on real-world roles in city, county, and state government. I've had a chance to read some of your slogans. Some are pretty clever. I wish you well in the election. I understand they're tonight. Is that right? Okay. I hope they go well for all of you. As Roosevelt said, one of your challenges, I would argue, as leaders is to provide enough for those who have too little. So whether you choose to run for office, serve in the courts, manage finances, report the news, or protect the community, your career path will directly impact the success of Boise State and the experience of your fellow citizens. I have a couple nephews that did Boise State, but my son Sam, timing just didn't work out for him. He never had a chance to do it, and he's sad that he didn't. Sam now writes for Politico in Washington, D.C., and he covers politics. He's covering the congressional elections, the midterms right now, and he uses his skills as a writer every single day to cover politics, which I would argue is every bit as important as the process itself. We need to understand the process and understand candidates and understand issues. The lessons that you're learning here about civic duty, leadership, and teamwork will serve you for the rest of your lives. I was going over some of the potential fields of study that I was provided that many of you have talked about what you want to study, potentially, we hope, in college, at a university, and we certainly hope it's at WVU. Politics, legal issues, banking, journalism, emergency services, corrections, law enforcement, forensics laboratory, Homeland Security, National Guard, business management, and marketing. How many of you have intentions to do ROTC in college? Okay? We have a graduation ceremony, as I mentioned, but before the graduation ceremony, we have a commissioning ceremony. And we have both Army and Air Force ROTC at the university. And that's one of my favorite ceremonies because, as you know, they're issued the oath of office that they take upon themselves willingly. And then there's the first salute. And oftentimes it's a grandfather, it's a grandmother, it's a mom or a dad, it's a brother that issues that first salute, or a sister. And it's an incredibly moving experience. This last May, we commissioned 16 second lieutenants, first lieutenants in the U.S. Army and the Air Force. These potential fields that I mentioned that you're pursuing this week run parallel to the academic programs that we offer at West Virginia University. Our current and incoming students are working in the same areas. For example, I just want to give you a couple examples as I wrap up. Students are studying applied AI and data analytics to learn how to build and deploy applied AI models that solve real business problems. From the first day, students are involved in hands-on consulting, building predictive systems, and working on real projects for existing West Virginia companies. By the way, as I came in, I met one of your advisors who is actually a rocket scientist. Where is he? Al, right? So Al went through our aerospace program, and I'm bringing up aerospace because they participate in all sorts of competitions. I am a huge Formula One fan. I love watching Formula One. And we also have a team that built from the chassis up a Formula One car that I got to drive on Saturday morning. Didn't kill myself, which was great. But it had a little get up and go to it. And they competed in an international competition. 200 teams, they placed 55th in the world building this car from scratch. Aeronautics is another thing we do especially well. I want to introduce two of my colleagues because they've been with me on this 55-county tour. Aaron Newmeyer, our Vice President and Chief of Staff, and Travis Mollahan, who's our Vice President for Government Relations. One of our stops was in the southern part of West Virginia, and we went to see Green Bank Telescope. How many of you been to see Green Bank? Truly one of the engineering marvels that I have ever seen in my life. The world's largest movable telescope. And how many of you watched Artemis 2 a few weeks ago when it landed in the Pacific Ocean on time at 8:08 p.m.? Now, y'all remember when Artemis 2 was making its circle around the backside of the moon, what happened once it got on the backside of the moon? Yes, sir, right here. They lost communication for how long?
6 minutes?
No, they lost about 6 minutes as they came back into to the Earth's atmosphere. It's about 45 minutes. So if you watched it or you watched the summary, Johnson Command Center, Johnson Space Center, the Mission Control Center there was quite a bit of trepidation, some angst, some anxiety over what was happening. No communication whatsoever. They emerged from the backside of the moon, and guess what was the first thing to reconnect with Artemis 2? The Green Bank Telescope. You know I wouldn't have asked that question if that weren't the answer, right? The Green Bank Telescope, you're exactly right, was the first thing to reconnect with Artemis 2. Now, why is that important? Because then they could kind of project, was it on the right trajectory? Was it going the right speed as it entered back into the Earth's atmosphere, going what, 20,000 miles an hour initially? And hoping that the heat shield would hold up. That's what's happening right here in our backyard in West Virginia. Every day when I go home to the Blaney house, I've passed this row of houses, which are all part of the WVU Department of Forensic Investigative Science, which is recognized as one of the top programs nationally with our on-campus crime scene training complex. It includes 4 crime scene houses, a vehicle processing facility, a photography house, and a ballistics laboratory with a firearm discharge facility. A couple more examples. In the Reed School of Media and Communications, students produced 3 full-length television news shows in modern studio space. These newscasts are distributed statewide and regionally. We also have a radio station called U92. How many of you want to go into media? Anybody? Anybody want to be a journalist or a sports reporter? You got one in there? Okay. Well, you got a journalism shirt on, so okay. We've got word yesterday that our student team from U92 was given approval by the NCAA to go to Omaha and cover the World Series. And they are ecstatic. Because you talk about hands-on experience, to be able to go to Omaha is really going to be something they'll never forget. I started by quoting FDR, and Travis and I have this discussion often. We talk about our favorite presidents. You can guess who my favorite president is because I have a 19-year-old son named Truman Taft Benson. So I say he's the best of both parties with that name. Truman is named for my hero, Harry Truman, who once said, "There's nothing new in the world except the history you do not know." If you think about the kind of trajectory of Harry Truman, there's a book on my shelf called The Accidental President. He had been vice president for 82 days when his staff came in and told him that Franklin Roosevelt had died in Warm Springs, Georgia. And in front of a group of reporters, he said, he called them boys because everybody in the room was a man. He said, "Boys, I don't know if any of you pray, but if you pray, pray for me now. When I got the news yesterday that Roosevelt had died, I felt like the sun, the moon, and all the planets had fallen on me." That was kind of the weight of responsibility he felt now as our 33rd president. He is the only president of last century who did not graduate from college. He failed at selling men's clothing. He failed at being a cattle rancher. He failed in oil speculation. He failed in real estate. And yet he never gave up the opportunity, or never kind of didn't believe in himself that he would be given the opportunity. So in 1944, when Franklin Roosevelt decided to get rid of his vice president, kind of a nutty guy named Henry Wallace, Roosevelt jettisoned him off and picked this junior senator from Missouri who would then become our 33rd president. And I want to give you a list of things that he did that maybe we take for granted today, but he did them at a time when it was hugely unpopular and has become now one of our greatest presidents. Number 1, his decision to drop the atomic bomb and end the war. Number 2, desegregate the military. For a guy from Missouri, that was hugely unpopular. but as he said, it was the right thing to do. How about his decision to fire General Douglas MacArthur? How about the decision to go ahead with the Berlin airlift? The decision to create the United Nations? The decision to help create NATO? The decision to recognize the State of Israel? The decision to invade, at the time, North Korea and begin the Korean War. There are a whole host of things that, in retrospect, you look back and think it took a lot of guts to make that decision, and Truman had the guts to do so. And I want to end with a quote from him as it relates to your experience here at Boise State. Gentlemen, keep working on a plan. Make no little plans. Make the biggest one you can think of and spend the rest of your life carrying it out. I commend you for being here. This is a wonderful opportunity, one I wish I had had when I was a kid in high school. You're all juniors in high school, is that right? So you've got your whole life ahead of you. The world is full of opportunities, and I'll leave you with one piece of advice. Benjamin Franklin said, education always pays the best dividend. No matter what happens, invest in yourself. Get as much education as you can. It is the great equalizer of the conditions of men, is what Horace Mann said. So, best of luck to you. Please cheer for the Mountaineers on Friday, and let's go. Mountaineers! Thank you so much. Thank you.
We've got a lot to cover tonight. I believe we have 19, you have 19 Supreme Court Justice candidates who are going to have their opportunity to talk to you why you should vote for them. You only get to elect 5. All of us are going to treat them with respect. We're going to cheer for each of them. We're not going to denigrate anybody. We certainly are not going to ridicule or laugh at somebody. They've got the guts to come up here in front of their peers and try and give the best presentation they can. Maybe you can learn something on when it's your chance. Maybe some future governor candidates for debate tomorrow. So pay attention and think about how you would want to be treated if you were up here. So with that, with those words of encouragement and caution, I will call up our political and legislative coordinator, Austin Komposki.
Okay, I'll go over the simple rules about what's going to happen. We'll send all of our justices outside to get an order. We have the order set already predetermined. Then we will send someone up here to speak. One person will stand off the stage, one will be sitting, and the rest will be outside to move in through. All of these speeches are only going to be 45 seconds maximum. You can use the whole time or not. Tyler up front here is going to be our timekeeper with a 30-second, 20-second, 10-second, 5-second, and a stop card that he will show at the appropriate times. The time will start once the candidate makes their first candidacial maneuver or noise of some sort. I want to reiterate that we want to be respectful to everyone. We'll keep the applause till after the candidate finishes and they begin to walk off. That's a good time to do it as the next one comes on. So we're not interrupting anyone. We're not slowing everyone down. Like we said, we have 19 candidates, so we want to keep it moving so we're not here all night. And just with the respect, these individuals and citizens, your fellow citizens that are doing this, they decided not to let themselves be the reason they fail. They decided that they're going to come up here and they're going to put it all out here and they're going to do their best and they're going to try to win, and they're not going to be the reason that they lost. So with that, if you filed for Supreme Court Justice, please go outside, meet with the lady with the baby to get an order.
So President Benson mentioned we are the 35th state in the union. And coming up soon in 12 days is West Virginia Day, the 20th of June. I personally own a 35-star flag. Can I fly that flag? Is it permissible to fly a 35-star flag? Anybody want to give it a shot? Right here, standing to notify yourself.
Probably not. It's not a standard U.S. flag. I would say that is not.
He says, probably not. It is not a standard U.S. flag. Probably not. Anybody else have an opinion they want to share on it? Back there, your hand up. Stand up.
I'd say yes. Or our anniversary day, June 20th, with permission from the governor for like the whole state law.
Yes, he says on June 20th, the founding day of West Virginia, with the permission of the governor. I have the answer. It is yes, but not for those reasons. Any official flag that was ever an official flag of the United States is permitted to be flown anytime. So yes, I could fly my 35-star flag any day I want to. And it looks like our candidates are ready when Austin's ready. Okay, I'll have some more flag trivia for you in the future. If you choose, you could purchase a 35-star flag and fly it whenever you want. I encourage you to fly it on June 20th. It's pretty cool. I take a picture of it, post it on social media, say West Virginia Day. Oh, they're going to use that one? Which one are they going to use? Okay. All right, mic's on.
Boys State. Okay. Here is your first Supreme Court Justice candidate, William Bashaw.
We love you, Will.
I love you too, random citizen. Some of you may know me for my bedazzled Lego Crocs or my copious amounts of consumables. However, there's more to me than just that. I come from Parkersburg, West Virginia, in Wood County, where I lead the speech and debate team to victory. Oftentimes, there's so many obstacles that need overcome whenever it comes to speech and debate, but even here at Boys State. And I know that so many of you have these adversities that must be overcome on a daily basis. And I say that where there is a will, there is a way. You guys here at Boys State must keep on with your perseverance, just like I have in my pursuit of this position. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Next up, we have William Bates.
Hello, I'm William Bates from the Panhandle Cabin. I want to talk about unity. As a Supreme Court candidate, I can't represent either party. But that's okay, because before we were nationalists or federalists, we were unified as Boys State citizens. And that's why I will need everybody's help to be elected. Not just the nationalists, not the federalists, but everyone. And if I am elected, I want to be a judge of everybody. Unified, not because of my party, but because of my allegiance to Boys State. Thank you. William Bates at the polls, please.
Next up, we have Gabriel Bishop.
Good evening, Mountaineers, Boys States. My name is Gabriel Bishop, and I'm running for Supreme Court Justice. You see, the legal system is like a game of chess, and in chess, blunders are bound to happen. As Supreme Court Justice, it is my job to ensure that these blunders are not overlooked and that your rights are given to you fairly and properly. In the game of chess, sending a strong piece into the battlefield alone can lead to losing the match. They must be sent in with strong reinforcements, which is why I'm co-campaigning with William Knight Laird. Chess is a game of strategy, so I advise you to choose your pieces wisely. Vote Gabriel Bishop and William Knight Laird for Supreme Court Justice.
Next up, we have Sundar Chiranjeevi.
My name is Sundar Chiranjeevi, and I'm running for Supreme Court Justice. I may not be the most charismatic candidate, and I know I'm not perfect. In fact, I work every day to improve myself. Many of the candidates I'm running against have these qualities more than I do. However, I believe my greatest strength is my dedication to understanding the law and the legal process. I've had the opportunity to win multiple UN awards for understanding the legal system, and I've job shadowed many lawyers. Being a good citizen takes heart, but being a good leader takes a solid understanding of the legal system. Vote Sundar Chiranjeevi for Supreme Court Justice. Thank you.
Next up, we have Ali Elkanza.
Hey Mountaineers, hope everybody's doing well. I'm Ali Elkanza. I'm from Marion Cabin. I'm running for Supreme Court Justice. I chose this role because people have always told me that I would make a great lawyer or judge, and I've always enjoyed debating issues, defending my opinions, and finding strong arguments to support my point of view. I'm good at analyzing different sides of a situation and using logic to make decisions, which is why this role feels like a natural fit for me. You have my word that all trials will be fair and smooth. Vote for me and SAE for your future Supreme Justices of Boy State, Sam, Ollie, and Evan. Thank you.
Next up, we have Evan Harrison.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Evan Harrison. Today, we gather as young leaders shaping our own republic. We stand together not just as rivals competing for power, but as brothers united in a shared mission. We are all one people, but we live as if divided by cabin loyalties, by personal ambitions, by the small differences that can blind us to our common purpose. Yet here at Boy State, we learn that true strength is never found in separation. It is forged in the unbreakable bond of brotherhood. Brotherhood means listening when we disagree. It means defending the rights of every delegate, even those whose views differ from our own. It means upholding justice with fairness, wisdom, and compassion so that every voice is heard, every rule is applied equally, and every decision builds our union stronger instead of tearing it apart. And in the Supreme Court, that's what matters most. If you elect me to Supreme Court Justice, I pledge to serve as guardian of that brotherhood. Don't just vote for me, vote SAE.
Okay, next up, we have Titus Holcomb.
Hi, I'm Titus Holcomb from Kanawha Cottage, and I'm here to tell you that I think the most important things in a justice is that they are trustworthy and that they are fair. And when I came here to Boy State, I quickly realized that all of you are the most trustworthy and fair high school-aged boys I think I've ever met. So I am not arguing that I am the most trustworthy and fair. I am saying that I'm trying to pay it back to you who have shown so much fairness and so much trustworthiness. I think you should just trust Titus because he will show what you have done. And in order to help me make my bed, helping me get ready for all this, and I want you to just trust Titus and vote me for Supreme Court Justice.
Next up, we have Ronan Holmes.
Hello, fellow Mountaineers. My name is Ronan Holmes. While other candidates are standing up here promising you everything under the sun, let's talk about what actually protects you here. That's law. The Supreme Court isn't about politics, popularity, or the person that can shout the loudest. It's about fairness. It's about making sure rules apply to everyone equally, and that rights aren't trampled by political games. I'm running for Supreme Court Justice because you deserve a court that is steady, sharp, and unbiased. For a judge who is fair, focused, and fearless, vote Ronan Holmes, me, for your Supreme Court. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Nicholas Kinsel.
Hello, Boise State. I'm Nicholas Kinsel. I'm in Panhandle County, and I have one question for you tonight. Do you want a chop Supreme Court or a mogging Supreme Court? So, Boise State, if you elect me into Supreme Court Justice, I promise you that everything that happens in there will all be done ethically, all held by legally. Nothing will be biased in there. So, Boise State, find that Lions mentality and vote for Old St. Nick.
Okay, next up we have Amari Knights.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Amari Knights. I'm from Gilmer College. I wanted to talk about unity tonight. When I look out at this crowd, I see a bunch of great faces, I see a bunch of great minds, and it brings to mind one of my favorite quotes, "Great minds think alike." But what I bet you didn't know is that that quote goes on. Great minds think alike, but dim minds seldom differ. What that quote is emphasizing is the importance of different ways of thinking, and what I want to emphasize is that unity can only be achieved if we have different mindsets. Unity and impartiality are what you need in the Supreme Court, and that's why you should vote for me. Thank you guys so much. Knights is right.
Okay, next up we have William Laird.
My name is William Laird. Crime plays checkers, but the law plays chess. Gabe Bishop put it perfectly. Here at Mountaineer, Boise State, you're about to be presented with a choice. In a short period of time, you will all go out to vote. A position on the ballot will be Supreme Court Justice. That's the position I'm running for. When I was in my 8th grade, I won the Golden Horseshoe. Part of that honor was traveling to Charleston, West Virginia to be knighted. This created the foundation for my campaign. Running with Gabe was a no-brainer. He's a great man, and let's be real, his last name fits the chess analogy perfectly. When you cast your vote, remember this: vote for the knight and the bishop. Vote for William Laird and Gabriel Bishop for the Supreme Court.
Okay, next up we have Jake Quinlan.
Good evening, Boise State. How y'all doing? Yeah. So we've had some great candidates tonight, and they've all talked about what they're going to do for you. But I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to talk about what I need from you. I need your belief, I need your faith, and I need your trust. Trust that I am going to do everything in my power to represent each and every one of you. See, I'm so passionate about this because law is something that's run in my family for years. So this is literally in my blood. And that blood will be shed for each and every one of you as I work with every ounce of determination I have for you. So as you're looking down that ballot and you're looking at that box, remember the faith and determination that stands behind the name Jake Quinlan. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Shane Robinson.
How are we doing today, everyone? All right, so I'm going to keep this real short. My name is Shane Robinson, and I'm here to get your vote for Supreme Court. Now, I'm going to be honest. Everyone's talking about how their name fits the chess analogy or how they have law in their family. And that's not something I got. But something I do have is something no one else is really going to have but me, and that's the passion. I was out here every day trying to recruit people, trying to get people to vote for me because I care about what I do. If you vote for me, I will make sure you all have justice. I will be fair and honest, and I will serve you to the best of my ability. I'm the best candidate because I care. Thank you.
How we doing, Boys State? Yeah! Yeah! My name is Bryce Scarberry. Some of you know me as BB. I talked to y'all earlier. Some amazing people. I love what you guys say about what you got here in the Supreme Court Justice. I love to fulfill that for y'all. But there's 3 things I believe that I can do for y'all for Supreme Court Justice, all right? The first thing, I believe that Supreme Court Justice should never be driven by politics, favoritism, or a us versus them mentality, all right? And the second I believe in is that it must be fair, you must have integrity, and you have to have equal justice for all. All right? If I am elected, all right, I will promise approach every case with an open mind and respect every perspective, and we can put the judicial branch.
Okay, next up we have Naeem Smith.
So good afternoon, Boys State. I'm going to ask everyone a quick question. Has anyone here ever sat in a session of the Supreme Court? Yes. Yeah. So I'm one of those people that have sat in the session. I was able to meet the 5 justices, so I have firsthand experience on how to do the job, and I think I can do it very well. I'm very fair, and I'm not biased towards any party, and that's what you need in a Supreme Court justice. So you got to make the right choice. You get 5 choices for Supreme Court justice, and as long as I'm one of those 5, like I'm happy. So thank you guys for considering me.
Our next candidate is Elliot Talbot.
What's up, Boys State? My name is Elliot Talbot, and I am running to be one of your Supreme Court justices for this Mountaineers Boys State. One of the things that I have that I haven't really seen a lot of my candidates also have is that I am a member of my school's speech and debate team. This has led me to be good at recording what's going on in a conversation. It's led me to be good at debating and giving speeches. I've also served as my Boy Scout troop's senior patrol leader. If any of you guys are Boy Scouts, you know how big of a deal that is. And so I've had experience as well in leading my meetings. I just hope that I'm one of your choices for Supreme Court Justice. Thank you.
Your next candidate is Samuel Tigalar.
Hey Mountaineers, I'm Sam Tigalar. I'm from Randolph Cottage, and I'm running to be one of your Supreme Court justices. A few months ago, I was granted the opportunity to go watch and shadow our real West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals, and afterwards I immediately was called not just to the job specifically, but to serving and upholding the law itself. As a judge, I, Sam Tigalar, would make sure that every citizen of our state has rights to a fair trial, no matter their circumstance, and that your appeals are heard. I'm running this campaign along with 2 of my friends, Ollie and Evan, and we know that to have the best possible Supreme Court, the justices need to be able to work together, and be a great team, and that's why we chose to run together. Together, the 3 of us would work together with all other justices to make sure the law is preserved and upheld fairly across the state.
Your next candidate is James Webb.
Hello, Boys State. My name is Mac Webb, and I'm a nationalist from Marion Cottage. The Supreme Court justices have a more unique responsibility than most of your judicial jobs. We don't just start from scratch. We look at cases that have already passed through, and we make sure that things are done correctly. And that requires a sharp eye, total objectivity, and a steady hand. And one more thing that I'll talk about later. I'm running for Supreme Court justice because I have the patience to dig into the details and the judgment needed to correct mistakes. I won't just wave things through, and I will thoroughly analyze every decision to ensure it's completely fair, accurate, and constitutional. And that last thing that you need is a lion mentality. And I promise to embody that lion mentality to hunt for justice and ensure fairness. For a system that gets it right, vote for Mac Webb.
Okay, your next candidate is Josiah Wetzel.
Hello, my fellow citizens in Boy State. I'm Josiah Wetzel. I'm from the Marion Cottage, and they always save the best for last, just saying. I want fair and equal trials when I am elected as Supreme Court Justice, even to evicted criminals and tyrants like the one last year. Not gonna say any names, nobody. Not gonna say no names. My campaign name is Juice. It is my nickname for my home school. And I have the background that sets me for this position. I was in the law and public safety class this year at school. We learned how the court trial works and the laws to them. Not just this, but the lion mentality to never give up and keep trying and give justice and equality to all in our court systems. Thank you, everybody.
So those were all of your Supreme Court candidates. Let's give them all another round of applause. I'll welcome your officer today, Matt Sampson, back up here.
You may recall last night we awarded for the first time a couple streamers. It's time again to award streamers for your cabin performance today. So I called to the stage our assistant administrator, Tyler Cornell.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, it's a lot of tough competition today. Matt, Randall, and I have been watching all you. You're getting into the day. We appreciate the enthusiasm, so this made a tough competition. Hopefully you all will cheer for each other. We are one boy state, but there are some cabins that stood out. Which one you want to hear first, the spirit or the integrity one? Spirit! Okay, all right, we'll give you the spirit one first. Well, there is one cabin that we decided stood out and had the most outstanding spirit. And if the right guide would bring his guide on from the cottage of Gilmer. Wrong. All right, and it was pretty unanimous. One cabin showed the most integrity and it stood out. And if the guide on would come forward for the cottage of Braxton. Thank you, gentlemen.
And now it's time for the first evening news broadcast produced by your very own Mountaineer Boys State Journalism.
My name is Tyler Joyce. I am in Cottage, Braxton, and I'm in music.
Hello, my name is Trey Beckler. I am from Kanawha Cottage, and I will be reporting on everything sports related.
Hey, Boys State. I'm Andy Shipley. I'm from Webster Cottage, and I'm your weatherman.
I'm Trey Thompson, and I'm in Panhandle Cottage, and I will be reporting on politics.
I'm Dane D'Alessio. I'm from Webster Cottage, and I'm Vinny Lake. Hi, Boys State. My name is Tyler Joyce. I am in Cottage, Braxton, and I'm in music.
My name is Trey Beckler.